Pursuit type hunters, which used to be known for not having any map control, but with extremely high chasing potential, had now changed over time, with the newer released Pursuit hunters all having some kind of map control ability, as well as older released Pursuit hunters also getting changes, to make them at least relevant in the map control criteria. The Ripper, on the other hand, being the original 3 hunters to be released since game launch, had received little to no pick rate ever since 2020, and is still decreasing over time. Yet, even after 3 years since his downfall, he never received the buffs necessary to get him out of the D tier, but only irrelevant buffs. NetEase even admitted in 2021 that they will not give him the buff that he needs, because of him being one of the most hated and feared hunters ever to exist, especially in lower brackets. He had undergone an extremely significant change. Before his rework, fog areas spawned around survivors who stayed in the same area for too long. He had infinite fog blades within the area, and a low invisibility cooldown. But the survivors just run out of the tiny fog area, and he loses his entire identity. However, post-rework, NetEase removed the area restriction on his abilities and allowed him to get a fog blade every 20 seconds instead. The fog blade itself creates fog areas for invisibility, but as a trade-off, he loses the infinite fog blades, and the speed from hidden in mist is nerfed. He was popular back then due to a lack of choices. The cooldown also didn't hurt him that much, but as the environment changes, the importance of the 20-second cooldown gradually becomes more significant. Now it's one of the highest cooldowns in the entire game. Today we will discuss why he has such a low pick rate and the problems with him. With mostly only one-trick players playing him, with not many new players joining to be a Ripper player. Disclaimer, this video is based only on the environment at this current time, and statistics can change at any moment. This video is created to attract attention to the character and not made to attack the character nor their players. Firstly, his mistake tolerance is way too low. Since his entire gameplay depends on the 20-second cooldown fog blade, if he fails to deal damage with it, then there goes most if not all of his pressure, due to his short attack range, slow voting and pallet breaking speed. Additionally, he is often compared to other pursuit type hunters like Gamekeeper and Geisha. Both Geisha and Gamekeeper have lower cooldowns to achieve similar things, which boost their mistake tolerance if they do mess up, and provide more opportunities to get faster downs even when mistakes were made. With Flywheel being equipped so often, and Seer being picked fairly often, if he had missed a Fog Blade, Survivors dodged a Fog Blade, Flywheeled, outed, etc., this quickly boosts the kiting time. And when multiple of those come into effect, now you see where I'm going. This affects the entire match, not just the early game. The tier 1 and 2 invisibility can help, however, most of the time it's just a very small boost that's insignificant and sometimes irrelevant. Even when it's effective, Fog Blades is still what determines if you get damage or not his normal attack. Therefore, the only reliable way for him to deal damage isn't so efficient at its job, being unavailable often when he needs it, and if he doesn't deal damage with the Fog Blade, everything quickly collapses for him. Furthermore, his design is very one-dimensional. As a pursuit type hunter, unlike Geisha and Gamekeeper both having decent map control, and Gamekeeper also having better defense, the Ripper is extremely one-dimensional. He only has the 20 seconds Fog Blade that's decently hard to land and easy to counter, with virtually no map control ability, nor defense, since most rescuers can save from it easily, and the survivors gets close to the chat at all. Even if you manage to land the Fog Blade, the rescuer can still successfully rescue, perhaps at the cost of one of them dying for it, but still means that they somewhat get the job done, and then the next person can save again in the same way. His one-dimensional nature causes him to only have potential from the chasing aspect, while his whole chase potential comes from his one and only Fog Blade, with a lot of pursuit hunters gaining map control abilities, such as Gamekeeper infinite hooks as we talked about earlier, as well as infinite jumps from the lizard. The Ripper still doesn't have such a thing, whilst having only decent chasing abilities, and being dependent on the survivor's blunders for wins, even when he plays nearly perfectly, since it's very difficult for him to look for opportunities with his abilities. This makes him unenjoyable since instead of playing someone who's not in control of wins, why not play the hunters that are in control of the outcome in one or even multiple aspects? While the Ripper relies completely on pursuit and not much potential from either defense or map control, especially the map control aspect, means that if the survivors just don't save at all, or if a merc saving reliably and get a title will easily delay him by a ton. And only being able to wait until the person's eliminated can he actually seek for victory. But even then, his mistake tolerance still comes back to bite him. Even a fast down early will not get him anywhere close to sealing the deal. But the only thing he relies on to even get anywhere close to a win, it's still one of the most easily counted and unreliable chasing abilities of all time. Moreover, he doesn't get much of a boost from presence, which means that he still has to rely solely on fog blades to mid-game and even endgame with no upgrades to it. Hunters such as Bonbon or Sculptor still have decent chase potential, while having terrifying tier 2s, and even compared with Geisha and Gamekeeper once again, both of them get significant upgrades on tier 2, and they are all able to get the second person chair quicker considering if the survivors save. The Ripper on the other hand, after eliminating a person, he has to start the chase with the long cooldowns and not much improvements all over again. If the survivors had the chance to heal, or had an efficient healer such as Barmaid or Priestess, this will delay his second chase by a lot, assuming that the survivors did try save and took damage from it. But save or not, it is still nowhere near easy for him to instant down the second survivor. This means that there are still chances for the survivors to easily get a tie afterward. This point is just saying that even if things go well for him on the first chase, doesn't mean that he could seal the deal in a way a lot of other hunters could, let alone if nothing went in the dream scenario, but standard or worse. Lastly, although he could down someone in the endgame and teleport to one of the gates to push for a win, in the end, without his Fog Blade, his chase potential is low, while the Fog Blade does not take effect of the detention trait. So even in endgames, with most survivors having barrel time and full health, means he has to chase how he did in the early game all over again, in the same way from earlier, with detention not being that huge of a boost compared to Geisha or Gamekeeper once again. Also, if he had teleported, the risk of the chaired person being saved is high, since even if detention did its thing, it is somewhat unlikely to get back to the chair in time if he chaired the person he just downed. And if he was to not chair the person that he just downed, he might not be able to get back to that survivor before they self-heal either. Anyway, these are my points on why the Ripper is rarely picked. Do you agree with these points or do you not? Feel free to share in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, it would be most appreciated if you can leave a like and subscribe. Until next time, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.